buds one last time and head her in. Hog and pay dirt. 3,000 ounces. We can't keep going like this because I'll never make it. We got to get the hopper down there. We got to get the screen decks, the sluice.
Shawn Pomrenke made a crazy $380,000 and kicked Kelly off the boat like he was trash. While other crews froze and failed, Shawn's crew kept digging like nothing could stop them. And when Kelly showed up with almost no gold, Shawn told him to leave, fast and hard. Tune in because Shawn's next move might crush more than just rocks. The dredge that changed the game. The Myrtle, Shawn's upgraded monster of a dredge, wasn't playing around. From the moment it hit that sweet spot, it was swallowing rocks, sucking up pebbles, and chewing through muck like a gold-obsessed beast. It wasn't elegant, it wasn't clean, but it got the job done in the kind of way that makes jaws drop and bank accounts smile. But then, the Myrtle hit something no one saw coming. Now here's the twist. Just when things were starting to sparkle, Mother Nature decided to throw a tantrum. Cue the storm, cue the chaos, cue everyone scrambling like ants in a kicked nest. The Myrtle was on fire, figuratively, and the Christine Rose, not so much. That poor dredge got herself stuck with her bucket face down in the seafloor like she just gave up. And with a storm racing in, that spelled trouble. Cue Shawn, flexing every creative muscle he has left after years in the game. He pulls out this wild fix-it-on-the-fly move, using Myrtle's muscle to hoist up Christine Rose's soggy mess. It's like watching someone perform surgery with a forklift, but somehow it works. The stuck bucket gets lifted, the Christine Rose gets dragged to safety, and disaster gets smacked down hard. And just when you think the story can't get more ridiculous, they crack open the pay box. Let's just say it didn't disappoint. 1 nugget, 2 nugget, red nugget, blue nugget. Maybe not in Dr. Seuss style, but that box was packed. Gold numbers started flying. 10, 20, 40, 70, over 100. Then they hit it. 191 ounces. That's the kind of number that makes a man sweat and giggle at the same time. What does that translate to in cash? Over 380 grand. That's a whole lot of donuts, trucks, and broken dreams brought back to life. Shawn's redesign of the Myrtle wasn't just a smart move, it was a gold-drenched middle finger to everyone who doubted him. And as for Christine Rose, with her bucket finally unstuck and her dignity slightly restored, she might just get back in the game. But make no mistake, Myrtle is the queen of this season. She's got the gold, the glory, and the brawn to back it all up. Of course, this wouldn't be a gold story without a little drama. And drama is spelled K-E-L-L-Y. Let's just say someone didn't exactly pull their weight and Shawn wasn't having it. There was no room on this ride for dead weight, and guess who got tossed? Kelly got the boot, the heave-ho, the classic farewell with a glare. Was it harsh? Maybe. Was it earned? Absolutely. In a world where storms threaten to crush your rig and every hour counts, there's no time for pity. You mess up, you go. That's just the Pomrenke way. There's something raw about the way the Myrtle now moves. She doesn't glide. She rips. Her tracks crunch over rock, her arm slams into the seabed, and her guts churn mud like it's cake batter. It's not pretty. It's power. And that power came at a price. Those sleepless nights reworking blueprints, the busted knuckles from tightening bolts that didn't want to play nice. The months spent chasing parts across frozen towns where everyone knows your name but nobody stocks what you need. It was a grind, a dirty, loud, thankless grind. That box didn't just have gold, it had proof. Proof that the Myrtle was no fluke. She was a machine reborn, a beast rebuilt, a monster now trained to sniff out profit. Shawn's rivals didn't have to like it, but they had to respect it, because gold doesn't lie, and neither do the numbers. The storm passed, Christine Rose got another lease on life, and the Myrtle, she's just getting started. Every bolt in her frame now shines a little brighter. Every pump hums a little louder. She's earned her place, not just as a backup or a gamble, but as the front runner. The thing is, Shawn didn't just want to outdig the rest, he wanted to end the conversation, and the dredge did exactly that. In just a few short weeks, it pulled in more gold than most crews see in a whole season. People on the dock stopped talking about tides and started whispering about Pomrenke's machine like it was some kind of gold-hunting monster. And honestly, it kind of is. This beast of a dredge wasn't some refurbished scrap heap either. It was built from the ground up, customized to Shawn's exact specs. We're talking industrial-strength suction, reinforced lines, and a sluice system so efficient it could find gold in a sandbox. It looked like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, all polished steel and raw horsepower, humming like it knew it was better than everything else floating nearby. Enter Chris Kelly, or more accurately, exit Chris Kelly. While Shawn was cashing in, Chris was barely holding it together. His gear looked like it had been pulled out of a junkyard, patched together with spit and stubbornness. And the results? Predictably dismal. Then came the weigh-in, the moment of truth. Or in Chris's case, the moment of humiliation. The pans were lined up, dried, and ready. Chris stepped up like someone headed to the gallows. His gold was a drizzle, not a pour. A handful of flakes, barely enough to buy a decent dinner. The storm's over, but trouble's just starting and someone's getting cut. 3 ounces. 1 goodbye. Meanwhile, Shawn's crew rolled in with pans that gleamed. Ounces stacked up fast. The scale practically groaned under the weight. And when it was all added up, Shawn had pulled in over 3 ounces more than Chris. In gold, that's not a gap. That's a canyon. Watching the numbers, Shawn didn't gloat. He didn't need to. The facts were loud enough. He nodded once, like a man confirming what he already knew. Then he turned to business. Chris, desperate to stay in the game, tried to broker a new deal. 50-50, he said, a fresh start, one more chance. But Shawn was done playing nice. He'd carried dead weight long enough. And this time, the answer was simple. Get your gear off the boat. No discussion, no backroom talks, just a clean cut. The dismissal hit hard. Chris stood frozen for a beat, probably hoping someone would jump in, say it was a joke, tell him to calm down. No one did. The deck went quiet. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Then Chris started hauling his stuff. Piece by piece, he dragged it off like a man packing up after getting dumped. The rest of the crew avoided eye contact. No one wanted to catch the splashback. And as Chris stepped off, Shawn just stood there, arms crossed, watching, the king surveying his court. And now that the weakest night was gone, it was time to move forward. But that didn't mean he was feeling generous. When Chris tried to sneak in one more dive, maybe just one last grab at the gold, Dave shut it down fast. "Haul it out, I'm done." Chris tried to argue, but the words didn't matter. The season was effectively over. He had no boat, no team, and no gold. The rug had been pulled, and there was nothing soft to land on. Meanwhile, Shawn kept digging, not because he needed to, he'd already banked more than enough, but because dominance doesn't pause. It doubles down. He had the best gear, the strongest crew, and the numbers to back it all up. And the other crews, they could feel it. Every time they hit a dry patch or broke a hose or came up light, they weren't just battling the elements, they were chasing a ghost, trying to catch up to someone who'd already lapped them. And Shawn? He wasn't interested in playing nice or making peace. He was building an empire, one gold flake at a time. The dredge wasn't just a tool, it was a message. Fall behind and you get left behind. The season may not be over, but for a lot of people, the story's already been written. And Shawn Pomrenke wrote it with a dredge, a plan, and a willingness to do what others wouldn't. More gold is coming. More firings might too. And one thing's for sure, if you're not helping the dredge, you're just in the way. By the time the last bar of gold was weighed and locked away, Shawn had turned a fishing port into his personal showroom. The numbers were big, but the message was bigger. He wasn't out there chasing gold. He was dragging it in like it owed him rent. Word spread fast, and not just among the crews. Locals, tourists, hangers-on, they all started to show up hoping to catch a glimpse of the man who'd struck it rich with a floating beast. There were whispers that his next move wouldn't be another dredge, but something even more ambitious. A second vessel, or maybe a processing hub. Nobody knew for sure, but everyone had a theory. What they did know was that this season was now his playground, and everyone else was just trying not to get stepped on. Meanwhile, Chris disappeared. Not literally, but in spirit. No one saw him at the harbor. No last-minute schemes, no backdoor deals. Just silence. It wasn't just a setback, it was a disappearance act. Rumors flew. Some said he was heading south. Others said he was trying to regroup for a return, but no one really believed it. Not after that walk of shame. The rest of the crews had a decision to make. grind out the season knowing they were playing for second, or pack up and save what pride they had left. Some chose to stay. Pride, stubbornness, maybe a little bit of delusion. Others started calling around for winter work, looking for something, anything to escape the shadow of that massive payday. But Shawn didn't let up. Even when the goal was met, even when the profits were locked in, he kept going. Because once a man shows he can dominate, people don't just watch, they expect a show. And he gave them one. The machine ran like clockwork. The crew barely spoke while working, not because they were tense, but because the rhythm was flawless. A look here, a signal there, and the gold just kept flowing. It was a dance, if a brutal one. Heavy metal, cold air, wet gloves, and dollar signs. He didn't spend recklessly, no showboating, no stacks of cash thrown around bars. Shawn knew better. The money went straight into reinvestment. New filters, stronger pumps, a better living setup for the crew. That's how a hobby becomes an empire. Not with flash, but with upgrades. And even with all this power, Shawn kept his circle tight. No strangers, no sudden partners. You either proved your worth or you waited on the dock. And if you couldn't carry your weight, you were gone. Just ask Chris. If there's one guy who knows how to make waves up in Nome, literally and figuratively, it's Shawn Pomrenke. Folks call him Mr. Gold. But not because he's polished. Nah, this guy's rough, raw, and way too deep in the game to play it safe. His latest power move, a brand new dredge that didn't just pay off, it blew the roof off with a haul of $380,000. And while people were still gawking at that number, Shawn did what only Shawn would do. He axed Kelly hard and fast. One guy's out, but the sea's still wild. Shawn's next move is bigger than ever. Shawn's war against the bearing. Before this gold rush madness took over his life, Shawn was just a scrappy kid in Nome. His playground wasn't sand and swings, it was frozen dirt and busted engines. His dad, Steve Pomrenke, didn't hand him a toy truck, he handed him a welding torch and pointed him toward the next job. That kind of childhood either breaks you or turns you into a machine. Shawn? He became the kind of guy who doesn't blink when the sea throws ice in his face. By the time most kids were learning to balance on a bike, Shawn was learning to balance a full-size excavator on the edge of disaster. And that wasn't even the scary part. The real nightmare was taking their whole operation offshore into the freezing mess of the Bering Sea. It was a crazy idea, but Shawn doesn't do boring things. He doesn't do easy things either. With his dad by his side, Shawn took a deep breath and dove into the unknown. Offshore mining wasn't just dangerous, it was expensive, stressful, and barely legal at times. The sea doesn't care about your plans. It'll flip your dredge, steal your fuel, and freeze your lungs. But that gamble, it paid off. They found the gold. Not flakes, not dust, real heavy gold. And just like that, Nome had a new king of the sea. It didn't take long before cameras showed up. Bering Sea Gold turned Shawn from local legend to national TV tough guy. People couldn't get enough. They watched every season waiting to see if the dredge would sink or strike. But that fame didn't change him. It just added fuel to a fire that was already burning wild. The wild ride hit a brick wall in 2019. Pomrenke Mining hit the skids and filed for bankruptcy. It could have ended there. It probably should have. Most people would have walked away and blamed the market. Not Shawn. He came back swinging. Through a new company called Northwest Gold Diggers, he snatched back the Christine Rose and rebuilt his empire, piece by gritty piece. Now here's where it gets even messier. Shawn didn't just get back in the game. He leveled up. He dumped money into smarter gear, sharper tech, and rigs that could rip through the seafloor like butter. That's where the new dredge comes in. It's not some rusty tin can, it's a floating beast, built to tear gold from the ocean's grip. And boy, did it work. That shiny monster pulled in $380,000 in gold. That's not a lucky streak, that's calculated domination. But while the crew was high-fiving and counting dollars, Shawn made another power move. He fired Kelly. No warning, no soft landing, just cut him loose. Kelly wasn't some random crew guy. He'd been around, stirred up his share of drama, and danced on enough nerves to earn a reputation. But this time, his number was up. Shawn didn't flinch. When your boat makes nearly $400,000 in a single shot, there's no time for excuses. You either deliver or disappear. Behind the scenes, things were just as wild. Running a dredge isn't some romantic treasure hunt. It's sleepless nights, frozen pipes, and engines that don't care how much you paid for them. Shawn's been through the grinder, leaks, lawsuits, rivalries, and breakdowns. Yet every single time, he keeps pushing forward. He's not the kind of guy to throw money at a problem and hope for the best. He studies, he tweaks, he obsesses over every angle. How deep to dig, when to pull up, which corner of the sea might hold more gold. That's what separates him from the rest. He's not guessing, he's calculating. But it's not just about money. Shawn wants better systems. He doesn't want to wreck Gnome's waters just to pad his wallet. His new gear is cleaner, faster, more efficient. He's investing in ways to get more gold with less waste. He's got his eye on renewables too, trying to make his empire not just richer, but smarter. There's talk around town that Shawn's already mapping out new spots. He wants to expand, scale up, and dominate even more turf. It's not enough to be on top. He wants to stay there, and that takes more than luck. It takes control. Every wire on the dredge, every hose, every screw, it all matters to him. This isn't just some guy chasing shiny stuff at the bottom of the sea. Shawn's building a machine, a cold, hard system that chews through the bearing and spits out gold. His crew knows it, his rivals know it, and if they're not careful, they'll be left behind in the frost. The wild thing is, none of this was guaranteed. One wrong move and the whole operation would have sunk, literally. But Shawn's not afraid to lose. He's afraid to stall. He'd rather risk it all than sit still. That's what makes him dangerous. That's what makes him king. Gnome's seen a lot of wild characters, dreamers, schemers, and a few straight-up disasters. But Shawn's different. He's not playing dress-up. He's living this. Every bruise, every busted engine, every sleepless night, he wears it like armor. And that new dredge, that's his sword. It's a symbol of everything he's fought for. Every time someone told him it wouldn't work, every time the sea tried to drown him out, he answered with this machine. And it answered back with gold. He's not done. Not even close. He's already planning the next dredge, the next dig, the next domination. Shawn's always hungry. Not just for gold, but for control, for legacy, for the kind of win that echoes. You want to know what makes this guy different? He doesn't care what people think. While others are busy fighting over scraps, Shawn's out there pulling in the motherlode, and if that means cutting ties, breaking hearts, or firing dead weight like Kelly, he'll do it without blinking. 380,000. That's not just a number, that's a statement. That's Shawn planting his flag in the ice and daring anyone to knock it down. And if history tells us anything, they won't. They'll try. They'll fail. Gnome isn't easy. The weather's brutal. The waters are unforgiving. But if there's one guy who's proven he can bend that chaos to his will, it's Shawn Pomrenke. Mr. Gold didn't get that name by accident. He earned it one frozen disaster at a time. And with that new dredge churning up gold like it's printing money, he just raised the stakes. If anyone thought he was slowing down, they weren't paying attention. Shawn's just getting started, and the Bering Sea better brace itself. He's not chasing dreams, he's catching them. One dredge, one dig, one brutal winter at a time, and if you're still doubting him, just check the numbers. 380,000 reasons to believe he's got the Midas touch, even if it comes with a little frostbite. But here's the real question. Did Shawn build an empire or just get lucky with a shiny machine? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.